Greetings, wonderful people. Bless you, bless you. And here we are today, again, talking about the journey to greatness. The journey to greatness. And talking about the journey to greatness, we ask the question, what is man that you are mindful of? Man was created for greatness. He was created special and unique. He was given wisdom and power. He was given an ability and authority over all the creation of the earth, of the living creation that is, okay? Of everything that on the earth that lives. All right? Now, but man is so special that also he was made to be created, I wouldn't say made, created to be unique, and as I say, special, because he was in the image and the likeness of the Creator. So now, with that in mind, there is a process to greatness, because as man was, and he still is, made or created for greatness. Yes, greatness is in his genes. Greatness is an inheritance for every man, every person. But we're going to just dwell on the man right now, if you don't mind. Okay. So, man and a great tree have similar beginnings. An acorn falls into the earth, falls into the ground, and goes into the earth, and a process of life starts. The process of life then comes forth through the earth as a small plant, a small, fragile, very noticeable, not even noticeable as a tree, but it is now a giant tree on the making. So this fragile plant needing help, needing assistance. This plant is fragile, need protection. So with that in mind, we think about how man, the seed goes into the womb of a woman and starts a process. It starts a process within a few time, a little length of time, around 9 months usually. A new life is formed that pushes out to the earth. And if this new life is called a baby, if this baby is a boy, it is announced to the universe. And the time of the birth is recorded in the universe. That another man of greatness, another is on the road, on the journey to greatness. And on that journey to greatness, there are many things that come about that's going to either help him, harm him, or gets in his way or block. So this baby, very fragile, very small, not recognized as a man, not recognized as a man of greatness, but this is what he is destined to be. So we look at him at that point of time. It says that a man of greatness is on the journey. He's on his journey. He's taking his stand on this road of life, on this journey of life as a baby. But he's always in constant need of care, a caregiver, of shelter, protection, nurturing. This baby is so innocent and so fragile. So it must be completely cared for. Until you get to that place in life, after a while, usually around 14 months or something like that, here he becomes a toddler. Because of the strength, he continues to grow. He continues to mature, just like the tree. That little sprig that come out of the ground, that is very unrecognizable as a tree, started taking the form of a little branch, a little sprig, and it grows, continue to grow. But as of yet, it is still not a giant tree, in which it's understandable. But with the care and the continued growth, it is now becoming a tree. So with that baby, as it continues to grow, they're being cared for, being nurtured, it's become a toddler. But before we get to the toddler state, we have to notice and recognize one thing though, with this baby. From the beginning, the baby is communicating. It's communicating. For some unknown reason, or unknown way, he's communicating his desires. He's communicating his needs. And it's called a cry. And a certain cry, if you pay attention to it, it tells you a message, a story, a message. I'm hungry. I'm hurting. I need changes or something going wrong that's about, you know what I mean? So come and take a look at me. Come and take care of me. Alright? So as a toddler now, he continued to grow. A toddler is in that next state of stage of growth. And on this journey, the toddler now is walking, crawling. The toddler is like, can't keep up with him. Okay? In constant need of attention. The toddler has no fear. You really have to pay attention to the toddler. And also with the toddler, he's noticing things. He's observing things. He's continuing to move in a certain direction of upwardness, recognizing things. He recognizes the caregiver more and more now. And then the toddler, as he grew older, he started to communicate even more. With this communication with the toddler, as he goes before he goes into the next state, you're going to need a interpreter, because now the toddler is no longer just crying to let you know his needs, but he's not verbalizing it. And you don't understand what he's saying, but it's okay. But once you get to know this toddler, once you get to observe and to see, and no matter what he said, so sometimes you think you can understand what he said, but you might have to go back to school to learn more about interpretation, okay, for a while. But the toddler is putting his words together verbally now. He's mimicking and he's saying things, but he knows what he's saying. He knows what he's talking about. He knows yes or no, I want, I don't want. And he expresses that. So then the next step up after the toddler is childhood. Now the childhood is really walking, talking, saying things, putting the words together, and he's active. He's active. But childhood is yet now into the formal learning. That's when they call the preschool, that kind of area, right? So now, with the childhood, preschool, formal learning, that is point, he gets into that place of knowing now who he is or what he's about. Now he's more or less expressing himself as to what's this, what's that. He's asking these questions. He's verbalizing his needs and everything. He's recognizing his sexuality in such a way. Now he's really needing the time to be taught and trained. That's why they say, raise up a child the way he should go. When he get old, he will not depart. We start the training as a young stage. Each day at each stage of life, we can constantly teaching and training and guiding our children, especially our guys. But now, the toddler and the childhood is given a name. The baby is given a name. He's a boy. Yes. And he's called a male. So this is a name, an identity name that is given. Okay? So we got that. So as a child goes into a formal learning, he's still into that place of learning, observing activities and all that. And then he goes into another state of the journey of learning, of maturity, of growing. And they call that the adolescent stage. Now he's a big boy, okay? So he say, but he feels that way because now he's more active. He's more into the body, not so much as the mind and the spirit or emotion, but he also expresses emotion. And that's a fragile state. Each stage is a fragile state with a child. So when you teach them, train them, and let them know that these are areas of communication. In each state, there's a different type of communication of a child, different type of growth of a child. He grows up, right? So as he goes into his childhood, he goes into another state called puberty. Puberty and adolescence more or less combined. That is a state where now, in a few years, he's really growing to a place where there's a change in his body, in chemistry, a change in his anatomy, a change in his emotion, a change in his mental state, in his spirituality, a change in his biological makeup, so to speak. There's something going on with this fragile young man, this fragile boy, that says, this is different. What is this? What's about this? Why this? Now he's really in the state where he definitely needs training. You definitely need to be explained things to. And this is why so many times we fail our children. We fail our children in such a way where we say, oh, it's just hormones. Yes, it's hormones. But there's something more to just hormones. How about his mental state? Because he doesn't understand why this is it. He doesn't understand what this is about until you explain it to him. Not in the old days when it said when things start to happen in a biological and an emotional and a hormonal type way, where he said, this is for this and this for that. And then you start this thing that the schools started doing. Well, they got to learn, so now it's time to teach them. At 8 and 9 years old, you're teaching them things that they shouldn't know at the point. But you say, well, they never knew. There's a way and a wisdom to teach your children stages and stages and stages. You don't just teach them like that. You teach them gently. And as you grow, just like the tree. You don't go up and swinging on the tree just because it's now start to branch it out and it's had little leaves going in, and you go swing on the tree, you're going to break the branches. A child is the same way. You're going to break his spirit. You're going to break his emotion. You're going to break his feelings and all that develops on the inside of him. He needs to know why. He needs to know what. He needs to know what's going on. Teach him just like you would your daughter. When her body starts changing, when things start to happening, that, hey, whoa, what's this? You know what I mean? Did I cut myself? No, you didn't cut yourself. So you explain things to them. And this is why today we must by all means start to teaching our children different things, and not the place where it's called demasculization of our young men. Teaching them that, oh, well, boys going to be boys anyway, so go out there and have fun, go play some balls. Yes, teach them to be athletic so to keep their bodies going and being strong and healthy, but also teach them the emotional, teach them about the wisdom, teach them about the spirit, teach them about what's going on in the universe, about their emotion, about it's all right to cry if you hurt. Our boys don't cry. That's a lie. If you hurt, you're hurt. But then there's a wisdom of trying to tone it down to let them know that, look, boy's a little bit stronger. And you're on this journey to being a man. You're on this journey to be great. So you don't hurt as bad or as much. So you try to control those emotions. You try to let them know that as you grow older, you get stronger in your emotions and into your physical being, that you can take a little bit more punishment, take a little bit more pain than ordinarily. Structure, that is. So as the boy now goes through this puberty stage and adolescent stage, he's now ready, okay, for the next state of mind called teenager. Now the teenager is also a fragile state of mind, a fragile state of body, a fragile state of emotion, because now the teenager is past this way of being the puberty. You already know about what's going on about his body. He thinks he knows anyway. But he still needs to be trained. He still to me needs to be coached. He still needs a mentor. He still needs to be developed into such a way whereas he knows where he's going, knows what's going on in his body, in his mind, in his spirit. Yes. So now you take that teenager and you show them certain things, you teach them things, and you let them know and understand about the development of their mind so they can make decisions, so they don't be wild and woolly. Yeah, all over the place. You teach them structure and discipline. That you start off early too, just like with the child. You teach them discipline. You teach them this and that and other. You teach them structure. You teach them obedience, about loyalty, all that good stuff. Now you also teach them how to defend themselves. You also teach them how to survive, making the right decisions. That's why structure, that's why family unity is so important. Because when they're not taught family unity, then anything can happen. That's when they go from one place to another place to the other place, because now they are more or less training themselves. Even if it's a single parent, that single parent should take time to really talk to their boys to become men. And okay, so it takes a man to teach a man, but a woman can also teach a man. I'm sorry, she can teach him because she knows wisdom, because she's mature. As a mother, she's mature. But the one thing about the mother, when you untie that apron string and help your boy to be a man, let him have structure. Teach him structure. Teach him good things, that he'll learn structure, that he'll learn wisdom, character, and how you call it, behavior, all that good stuff. Now, so that he won't go into that place of becoming to become a unproductive male, so to speak. And as he grows more and more towards the maturity as a teenager, he gets into that place now where he can make decisions. And with the right structure, you teach him how to do things. You're teaching him how to be a valuable person in his family, in the neighborhood, in society, in the universe. You teach them about the road towards greatness. You give them structure and you give them foundation. All of this happening before he becomes a man, while in their teenage days. And this is why we have people who they're teaching their children, but they're not helping others in the family. But it doesn't matter. If you have somebody in your family, a friend, somebody, talk to them. Talk to them. Speak to them about talking to their children. If they tell you to mind your business, okay, mind your business. Go ahead on and let your little wild child become another statistic to sleep in that earth, to go behind them bars and go through the changes of being demasculized as usual. But when they start that structure of knowing who they are and what they're about, you can help them to become a better person. You can help them now to become mature with their wisdom and the foundation that it would be solid, the foundation that would be so good to know that I have value. And that's what our young men need to know. Now they are young men. They're no longer just, okay, they can still be boys, but they're no longer toddlers. They're no longer children. They are now teenagers. They may be called adolescents sometime, but please, call them who they are. Call them with that maturity. Let them know that they're young men. Young men. They're on their way to manhood. They're not babies. We know it's understandable. Your baby, okay, your baby can always be your baby. That's all right. I guess it's your right. But if your baby accepted, that's your baby's business. Your business, But anyway, then your baby's gonna always be a baby, and always come to mama and grandmama, the daddy, for his needs, rather than use the wisdom and the knowledge of learning from the stages and stages and stages, like that tree, until it gets to be a good tree, a big tree, where you can really climb that tree. When that tree is then become a value, that tree become a place of shelter. A tree now provides food for others. A tree provides shade. A tree can provide internal situation, substance for the traveler. That's why we teach our children to be strong. We teach our children value. And then we teach them how to be mature, so they can start out on that road now. From now on, after they reach that maturity, after the teenager, they go into the maturity of being a man. Making of a man is so important. Now they're really on another journey. It's the same journey, no, don't forget, it's the same journey, but a different road. Now it's a path. That road that they were on before, from a baby to a teenager and up to maturity, has been a road. Now this is a path, because the true greatness is in a path. Because sometimes that path will go into the place where it's hard, it's lonely, but it's structured, and it's narrow, because it's not too many, it's not crowded. It's not crowded. So that's why we have to get our teenagers out of that crowd situation, off that road, and start them onto that path type situation, to let them know now there's a different type of a structure. Now the identity is no longer just say, okay, identity is always going to be male. Identity is always going to be, in that masculine sense of being. But now it's a Mr. involved, a gentleman involved, sir involved. Okay? That's what it's going to be. And then the maturity is, what can you do in life on this road of structure? There's a purpose to be great. Greatness has a purpose. You were made for that purpose of greatness. Not just to say, I'm a great person, but that path now has a way of providing has a way of being structured so that now it bears the fruit of the labor. It bears the fruit of your training. It bears the fruit of knowledge. It bears the fruit of your maturity as you go forward. So that you won't be a 40-year-old boy. You won't be a 50-year-old baby. A 30-year-old my baby. No. You're going to be a 25-year-old man. You're going to be a 30-year-old great man heading towards that greatness each and every day. Structure and more structure. So with that in mind, we just want to let you know that there's a PDF that I have. It's called Journey to Greatness, Making Up a Man. And I would be glad to send this out free. Yes, free. So that you can take a look at it for what we're talking about now, even recording on this PDF and recording on the Facebook Live and also YouTube and our podcast on Anchor FM, Anchor.fm. So now, by all means, get this PDF, look at it, and then go through the structure. If you have a child, or if you have a nephew or a brother that needs help, that needs some structure, so maybe some of the points in here that will help you to impart some wisdom into them. So with that in mind, we thank you, and we'll take a little short break right quick. So wonderful people, thank you for being with us. Send some feedback. Let us know what you think. Let us know how everything going, and we will be able to say, oh yeah, thank you, and to go to peopleinlove.net. People excel in love as people, the letter X, CEL, the letter N, and LOVE at yahoo.com. Let me know what you think. Send me some feedback. Let me know what you think about these messages. Okay? Because we need structure. We need some changes in our life. Too many of our young men are stuck in the ground and can't go home and sleep in a bed. Too many of our men, while they were boys, were cut down, and now they locked down on cell block 6, cell block D. And it's going to be a problem. It's going to be time and years. It's going to be heartaches and headaches. It's going to be tribulations and trials. And they might not ever come back to the right state of mind. So with that in mind, thank you, bless you, and bless you. Take care. With that in mind, bye now. So, wonderful people, thank you for being with us. Bless you. And now let me close out.